Ever imagine what it'd be like to kind of peek behind the curtain at a company like DraftKings?
Oh, yeah.
Like, what's really driving their growth?
Right.
Today, we're going to do just that with a deep dive into their Q3 2024 financial report,
Yeah.
straight from the SEC.
It's fascinating stuff.
Yeah.
DraftKings is operating in this rapidly evolving world of online gaming. And they're facing challenges like regulations, tech advancements, and even shifting consumer behavior.
Right.
This report gives us a real glimpse into how they're handling it all.
Okay, so before we get lost in the numbers, though,
Yeah.
let's set the scene for our listeners.
Okay.
What exactly does DraftKings do?
Right.
They're not just a sports book, are they?
No, you're right. It's much bigger than that now.
Okay.
Their mission is to make life more exciting, and they're doing it through a whole ecosystem of real money games and betting,
Wow.
all with an emphasis on responsible gaming, of course.
Right, of course.
So think sports betting, online casino games, daily fantasy sports, and even branching out into media, physical sports books, and even digital lottery options now.
Wow, they're practically everywhere.
Yeah.
It sounds like they're trying to create a complete entertainment experience, but that must come with a ton of regulatory hurdles, right?
Absolutely. The online gaming industry is heavily regulated,
Yeah.
and DraftKings is very aware of that.
Okay.
They're going above and beyond to highlight their commitment to responsible gaming consumer protection and staying compliant with all the regulations.
Right.
It seems like they want to be a leader in setting the standard for this new era of entertainment.
Makes sense. Building trust is crucial,
Yeah.
especially in an industry that sometimes faces skepticism.
Right.
But okay, let's get to the heart of it. The Q3 2024 numbers.
Right.
What jumped out at you?
Well, first off, their revenue soared
Okay.
by 38.7% compared to last year,
Wow.
reaching a mind-blowing $490,000.
Over $1 billion.
Yeah.
Okay, they're clearly doing something right. But the big question is, are they turning a profit with all that revenue?
So not quite yet. They're still posting a net loss. But here's the encouraging part. That loss only increased slightly compared to last year.
Okay.
And even more importantly, their adjusted EBITDA for the first 9 months of 2024 is positive,
All right.
over $91 million to be exact.
So not in the black yet, but trending in the right direction.
Exactly.
What's fueling this incredible revenue growth, though? Is it simply more people gambling?
It's more nuanced than that.
Okay.
They're seeing a surge in what they call MUPs.
MUPs.
Yeah, which stands for monthly unique payers.
Okay.
Basically, think of it as their active user base.
So how are those MUPs looking? Are they just attracting casual players?
Yeah.
Or are they bringing in the big spenders, too?
They've experienced substantial year-over-year growth in MUPs,
Okay.
which tells us two things. Their brand awareness is expanding, and they're pulling in a lot of new customers.
Got it.
But it's not just about attracting new players. It's about keeping them engaged and, let's be honest, spending.
Yeah.
That's where ARPMUP comes in, average revenue per MUP.
Here's where things get really interesting.
Yeah.
What's the story on ARPMUP?
That number is also climbing,
Okay.
which shows that DraftKings is not only attracting players, but also keeping them coming back for more. They're doing a great job at driving user engagement and finding ways to monetize that engagement.
So it's not a one-and-done situation.
Right.
They're creating an experience that keeps people hooked.
Exactly.
Speaking of keeping things interesting, you mentioned strategic acquisitions earlier.
Oh, yeah.
What's the scoop on those?
DraftKings has been busy making some power plays.
Okay.
They recently acquired 2 companies, Jackpocket and Sports IQ Analytics. Each acquisition provides insights into their long-term strategy.
Let's break those down. What's so special about Jackpocket?
Jackpocket is all about digital lottery,
Okay.
which opens up a whole new market for DraftKings.
Right.
It allows them to offer a wider range of gaming experiences to their users and tap into a massive existing market.
Smart Move Lottery is huge.
Yeah.
It feels like a natural fit for their platform. Now, what about Sports IQ Analytics?
Yeah.
What did they bring to the table?
Sports IQ Analytics focuses on pricing and trading capabilities
Okay.
for sports betting. What's interesting is that DraftKings is bringing this expertise in-house,
Oh.
aiming to fine-tune their odds and potentially even create more unique betting options.
So they're not content with relying on outside providers. They're building their own expertise to gain a competitive edge.
Yeah, and personalize the user
That's
experience.
fascinating.
And there's a curious detail in a report about Jackpocket's purchase price allocation.
Okay.
It's still preliminary, meaning some of the figures could change significantly over the next year.
Wait, Why is that?
Hmm.
What does that mean for the acquisition?
Essentially, when a company acquires another,
Right.
they need to determine the value of each asset. They're still finalizing those valuations for Jackpocket, which means some numbers could shift dramatically.
Okay, so that's something to keep an eye on.
Yeah.
It sounds like there are still some unknowns with that deal.
Let's switch gears a bit and talk about intangible assets.
Okay.
What exactly are those,
Right.
and why are they important for a company like DraftKings?
Intangible assets. The hidden gems of a company's value.
And DraftKings has a lot of them, right?
Absolutely.
What specifically makes up their intangible assets?
The report breaks down the composition of their intangible assets.
Okay.
Developed technology, internally developed software, those all-important gaming licenses,
Mm-hmm.
a massive pool of customer relationships, and even their trademarks and trade names.
So it's not just about the games themselves.
Right.
It's about the technology, the brand, and the connection they've built with their users.
Yeah.
But there's got to be a downside to having all these intangible assets, right? What's the catch?
Well, the challenge is that they depreciate over time.
The company has to account for that loss in value, which means they're taking a significant amortization expense.
Okay.
Over $188 million for the first 9 months of 2024.
Ouch. That's a big hit.
It is.
What does this mean for their long-term profitability, especially with those expenses projected for the next 5 years?
That's a crucial question.
Yeah.
These ongoing costs associated with intangible assets are something investors will need to consider.
Uh-huh.
When evaluating DraftKings' long-term prospects, it's a balancing act between investing in these essential assets
Right.
and managing their impact on the bottom line.
It's like a constant drain on their resources, even though these assets are vital to their success.
Yeah.
Now, we can't talk about DraftKings without addressing the elephant in the room,
Okay.
litigation.
Right.
It seems like they're involved in a lot of lawsuits.
Yeah.
What's the deal with that?
It's almost unavoidable in this industry, to be honest.
Really?
The legal landscape for online gaming is still being defined, and DraftKings is operating right at the forefront, which inevitably leads to some legal challenges.
Can you give us some examples of the kind of lawsuits they're facing?
Sure.
What are the potential consequences if things don't go their way?
There's a case with WinView Inc. claiming that DraftKings is infringing on their patents.
Okay.
If DraftKings loses, they could face hefty damages or even be forced to modify core features of their platform,
Oh, wow.
potentially impacting user experience and revenue.
Wow, the stakes are high.
Yeah.
Any other notable cases that highlight the legal tightrope they're walking?
There's also the Torley lawsuit, which stems from a canceled NFL game
Okay.
due to Damar Hamlin's injury.
Right.
It's a reminder that unpredictable real-world events can create legal headaches for DraftKings.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
It's a complex ecosystem, and external factors can have major consequences.
Mhm.
But despite all these legal battles, DraftKings seems pretty confident in their position.
They are. They're actively defending themselves against all claims and believe they have strong legal arguments.
But we'll certainly be watching to see how those lawsuits unfold.
Yeah.
To wrap up this part of our deep dive, let's talk about their overall financial health.
Okay.
How are they doing in terms of cash on hand and available resources?
They're actually in a surprisingly strong position.
Okay.
As of September 30th, they had over $877 million in cash and cash equivalents.
That's a nice safety net.
It is a significant cushion to have in a volatile industry.
What are they doing with all that cash?
Right.
Are they making any strategic moves to bolster their financial flexibility?
They're being very strategic. They secured a $500 million revolving credit facility,
Okay.
giving them more financial breathing room. And here's a big one. They've authorized a $1 billion stock repurchase program.
Hold on. $1 billion stock buyback program.
Right.
What does that mean for investors, and why would they make such a bold move?
That's a question we'll delve into in the next part of our deep dive.
Okay.
It could have a significant impact on share value and investor sentiment. Stay tuned to find out how.
I will.
That stock buyback program you mentioned,
Yeah,
it definitely raises some eyebrows.
it does.
Mhm.
What's the strategy behind it?
Well, when a company buys back its own stock,
Mm-hmm.
it reduces the number of shares available on the market.
So it's a classic supply and demand play. Fewer shares could lead to higher demand,
Right.
potentially driving up the stock price.
Exactly. It's a way for them to signal confidence in their future
Okay.
and potentially reward their shareholders.
But it's also a huge commitment of capital.
Yeah.
Is this the right move for DraftKings at this point in their journey?
That's the million-dollar question.
Yeah.
Some analysts might argue they should prioritize investing in growth and achieving profitability
Right.
before buying back stock.
While others might see it as a shrewd move,
Right.
especially if they believe the stock is undervalued.
Precisely. There are multiple perspectives to consider. It depends on your investment philosophy and how you view DraftKings' long-term potential.
I guess time will tell how it all plays out.
Yeah,
It adds another layer of intrigue to their already fascinating story.
absolutely. Now let's shift gears a bit and look ahead. What are DraftKings' strategic priorities for the future?
It's a great question because this deep dive isn't just about understanding the past.
Right.
It's about getting a glimpse into where they're headed.
Yeah. Their report highlights some key areas they're focusing on.
Okay.
Investing in product development, expanding into new markets, and establishing what they call predictable unit economics.
Let's break those down. What exactly do they mean by investing in product development? Are we talking exciting new features on the horizon?
That seems likely.
Okay.
They're always looking for ways to enhance the user experience and stay ahead of the curve. They've also mentioned expanding their offerings beyond their core sportsbook and iGaming products to include more online consumer products.
So we could see more growth in areas like their digital lottery and media ventures.
Exactly. And they're not just passively waiting for opportunities. They're actively pursuing expansion into new markets, aiming to launch in jurisdictions where online gaming is becoming legal.
Makes sense. The more markets they tap into, the larger their potential customer base.
Precisely.
Yeah.
But it's not just about growth at any cost.
Right.
They're also laser-focused on predictable unit economics.
Okay. I have to admit that sounds a bit like corporate jargon.
Yeah.
Can you translate that into plain English for our listeners?
Of course. It essentially means they're striving to make their operations more efficient and profitable on a per-user basis.
So attracting and retaining users who are not only active, but also consistently generate revenue.
Exactly. They're aiming to find that sweet spot where they can acquire customers cost-effectively, keep them engaged, and generate solid returns on their investment.
Sounds like a recipe for sustainable growth, which is crucial for long-term success.
It is. And managing costs plays a big role in that. They're working to optimize their marketing spending, streamline operations, and essentially squeeze as much value as possible out of every dollar.
It's a delicate balancing act.
Yeah.
Between investing for growth and keeping a watchful eye on the bottom line.
Absolutely. And these factors, market expansion and cost management, are crucial for DraftKings as they pursue profitability.
This raises an important question, though. How does all of this relate to the average person, someone who might not be an investor or a hardcore gamer? Why should they care?
That's a great point. Whether you're an investor, a casual gamer, or simply curious about the business of online entertainment. Understanding these dynamics gives you a deeper appreciation for the challenges and opportunities a company like DraftKings faces.
It also highlights how this industry is shaping the broader entertainment landscape. It's not just a niche market anymore.
You're right. Online gaming is becoming increasingly mainstream. And DraftKings is leading the charge.
It's a story that's still unfolding. Who knows what twists and turns lie ahead?
That's the exciting part.
Yeah.
And as we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I'd like to leave our listeners with a thought-provoking question.
Okay, lay it on us. What's the big question we should be pondering?
We discussed DraftKings' expansion into digital lottery and their acquisition of Jackpocket.
A smart, strategic move to tap into that massive market.
But here's where it gets interesting. The SEC is pushing for greater transparency around cryptocurrency. How might this impact DraftKings' accounting and disclosures? Especially when it comes to digital assets related to their lottery offerings.
That's a fantastic question, especially considering the recent accounting standards update that specifically addresses cryptocurrency. How will DraftKings navigate this evolving regulatory landscape?
It's definitely something to watch closely. It could have significant implications for how they value and report those assets.
It's like a whole new layer of complexity is being added to an already intricate situation.
Exactly. It makes you realize that these financial reports are more than just numbers. They offer a glimpse into a company's strategic thinking, the risks they're taking, and the challenges they face. It's a dynamic story that goes far beyond the headlines.
And a story that's constantly evolving.
Yeah.
This deep dive has just scratched the surface.
Yeah, it really does make you think
Uh-huh.
about how much is going on behind the scenes at these
There
companies.
really is, like, we've been given a backstage pass
Quickly.
to see how all the gears turn
Yeah.
and how the decisions are made.
Exactly. And like you said, we've only just begun to explore
Right.
the depths of this report.
Yeah, there's a wealth of information in these filings just waiting to be discovered.
And we encourage all our listeners out there
Oh, yeah.
to delve deeper into the full 10Q
Uh-huh.
if you're interested in a specific aspect of DraftKings' business.
Absolutely. Whether you're an investor
Right.
trying to make those informed decisions,
Yeah.
or a gaming enthusiast curious about the future of the industry, or simply someone who enjoys understanding the complexities of a business like this.
There's definitely something in there for you.
Because the world of online entertainment is rapidly evolving.
Oh, yeah, it is.
And companies like DraftKings are right there at the forefront,
Yeah,
shaping its future.
So stay tuned, folks.
Yes.
Stay tuned for more fascinating deep dives
Absolutely.
where we'll continue to explore the companies and trends
Yeah.
that are shaping the world around us.
This deep dive into DraftKings has been a real eye-opener.
It has. It's been amazing to see how they're navigating those challenges and capitalizing on the opportunities in this dynamic industry.
From their ambitious expansion plans to their strategic acquisitions and their commitment to responsible gaming, they're certainly a company to watch.
Yeah, as those lines between entertainment technology and finance continue to blur, we can expect even more exciting developments from DraftKings and the industry as a whole.
So if this deep dive has sparked your curiosity, we encourage you to explore further.
Definitely.
There's always more to learn and discover out there.
Absolutely. Remember, knowledge is power.
Yes, it is.
Especially in a world that's constantly changing.
Until next time, folks.
Yeah.
Keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep